Namaste, SoulFelt family. It's Michelle Skaletski-Boyd, intuitive medium and best-selling author. What happens if you have too much empathy? Being an empath often means that you do give benefit of the doubt, maybe more often than necessary. Maybe another way of saying it is, what if you continue to give someone the benefit of the doubt over and over again? What does that do to you? Let's look at the history of the benefit of the doubt. Some say that it originated back in Anglo-Saxon law with a concept called frank pledge. There was a group of 10 families that were responsible for each other's good behavior, and if one member of the group committed a crime, the entire group would be punished. Now imagine what this would mean. Of course, you're going to give people the benefit of the doubt. So if someone in the group did something that made another member suspicious, they would often give that person justification and trust anyway in order to save their life. By definition, benefit of the doubt means a favorable judgment given in the absence of full evidence. Now, how does this tie into being an empath? If you're an empath, you might not have clear evidence that someone is in the wrong, and so you choose to dismiss the reality and replace it with something nicer. So let's break this down into a real world example. Let's say you have a friend who's really good at communicating, but all of a sudden they stop replying. I mean, it's like crickets. They're not even answering your calls, and this continues for a couple of weeks. If you're someone who cannot give benefit of the doubt, your mind is already condemning them. That's it, friendship is over, end of story. You're going to see the person as selfish and rude. You're going to blame them even though there's no solid evidence. And by the way, you probably aren't going to have a friend with really good communication skills and loyal skills if you're this kind of person. Being an empath, you are able to offer justifications and you can widen your perspective, knowing there's a good possibility that this friend is just going through a tough time. In my case, this was a real world example, and after not hearing from this friend for quite some time and being worried, but also recognizing that there might be something more at a personal level happening, it turned out that yes, indeed, she had just lost her father and had flew back to her hometown to take care of funeral services. And now thankfully I didn't go off on her, and I actually took the time to step back and give her the benefit of the doubt. But what happens as an empath if we have seen red flag after red flag and we continue to ignore them? We continue to make excuses, and people around us can see it and have tried to let us know, but we continue to hide what's actually going on in hopes that that person is going to come forward and change. So I used to do this for my husband. He was big time into bad stuff, and my mom and dad intuitively knew it, but they would ask me about it and I would make excuses and I would justify for his behavior because I didn't want them to see the real him, because I knew then that they would judge him for it and then they would question me as to why it is that I stayed with him. Now back then I fell in love with my husband's potential, and as empaths we have the ability to do this. We can fall in love with potential, and I'm not going to tell you that it can't work out, because in my case my husband and I have, but it was a lot of trials and tribulations. It was a ton of suffering, and it was a lot of me turning a blind eye to all the red flags that were there. Having too much of a benefit of the doubt can be a very dangerous slippery slope. When you give someone multiple chances and forgive again and again, not only are you lacking boundaries, but you're also showing the world your wounded self. And when you're wounded, you'll continue to attract people who are also wounded. Being too lenient can set yourself up over and over again for being hurt. And it also is a codependent relationship where you enable someone else. And as long as you keep doing it, they're not going to be able to take responsibility. It wasn't until I stepped back, I held my husband accountable, that he could finally do his own inner work. By the way, I had to do mine too, because I had to look at why was it that I was willing to give someone such benefit of the doubt over and over again. Obviously, I didn't have strong boundaries the way that I do today. When someone wrongs you and you continue to make excuses for them, stop. Justifying their behavior is setting you up for a faulty foundation when it comes to unhealthy relationships. It's teaching that person that no matter what, you're going to continue to take it. You're going to allow them to walk all over you. Remember, there's a reason for the saying, 3 strikes, you're out. Strike 1, yes, people are people, And sometimes, in order to have relationships, you have to offer the benefit of the doubt. Strike two, be cautious. If it happens again, consider this a red flag. Also know that it could be just a fluke. 3 strikes and you're stuck in a pattern, which means no amount of I am sorry's is going to fix it. Only changed behavior will do. If that's the case, be sure that you seek out a really good counselor, a therapist, or see someone like myself that can get into the subconscious and notice why are you stuck in these patterns and what you can do to get yourself out. As always, enjoy the experience.